Well, Cameron, welcome to the Born or Made podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very excited to talk to you today. So, easy question, obviously not from around Texas, it doesn't sound like. Where were you born?
What gives that away, right?
Yeah, almost had a little southern drawl.
Yeah, I grew up in a farm in Outback Australia. It's a long way from anywhere that anyone knows of. So the closest city was Adelaide, and it was a 9-hour drive west of Adelaide. So 11 people in my graduating class. Had to have singing lessons over the phone because there wasn't a singing teacher for hundreds of miles of where I grew up. And yeah, it's a different lifestyle, but I love getting back there each year and spending time with family. While the US is home now, it's really cool going back. And one thing in particular is it's been about 6 years of doing this now. I go back and I surprise my nieces and nephews by dressing up in costume, and so I get back onto the farm, and we have an absolute blast. So beautiful upbringing, and look forward to talking more about that.
So, was you raising cattle?
Sheep was the main livestock, and
okay.
then the crop was wheat. So dad had that big broadacre farm. My brother's taken that over now, which I'm more than okay with. There's a huge amount of work involved. Very admire what they put into to what they get out of it.
So, I raise cattle, and people just don't realize how hard farmers work.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have a lot of cows. I have 26 cows, and it's work. I mean, if they run out of water, it doesn't matter if the weather's bad, good, middle of the night, you're fixing it.
It is insane amount of work. I think just to give people like just a small amount of insight, I think is Dad mentioned, I think this was last year, that the amount of wheels, as in tires on vehicles on the farm right now, there's about 300. And so you just think about what can go wrong just with the tires alone, let alone everything else with a different machinery. Because it's like, 20,000 acre farm over there. And so it's a big broad acre farm. And so, again, huge amount of work that goes into it. And massive respect for my dad and now my brother as well.
God, so that's like, what is that? That's got to be, 30-something square miles?
It's a lot of land. It's a lot of land.
So what's the topography? Is it not a lot of tall? You probably don't have a lot of trees. Or
no, I mean there's trees.
Flat?
It's not huge. They're not towering trees though. So yeah, there's still trees there, but it's pretty flat. I mean where we grew up, it's the last town before you get to a stretch called the Nullarbor, and the Nullarbor Plain is, I think it's in the southern hemisphere, the longest stretch of land without trees. And so that part is there's no trees. But it's awesome. If you viewers and listeners check this out, you go and check out the Great Australian Bight and Nullarbor Plain. You just got flat land. There's no hills. There's nothing. But then it just drops straight off in the cliff face because you're on the southern part of Australia, and the only thing between that and Antarctica is ocean. And so you've just got it battering against there. So it's amazing to witness it from above, like a drone, for example, or from aerial, because you're just going across, and then it's just straight down, and it's just rugged cliff faces.
Really?
Yeah.
And how high are the cliffs?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to say definitively, but I mean, I think they'd be at least 100, 150 feet.
Just
a long way down.
Yeah, I mean, you're not returning.
Definitely not. No, you're gone. You're gone for good.
So you go to school there. How old were you when you left Australia?
Left Australia when I was 30. I left the farm when I left home when I was 18 and went to the city from there. So there's some progressions that occurred, but still try to get back to the farm once a year.
But so you were kind of never going to be a farm boy?
Nah. No, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I got into music pretty early on and really enjoyed that. I learned piano growing up and did that for many years. And there was always a desire to see what was out there. And it's taken a while to get there, but it's been a pretty wild ride.
So you leave the farm. What are you going to the big city for? You going to school? Do you going to university?
Yeah, I went to university for a couple of years. Dropped out.
Okay.
Definitely went through my lost, don't know what I'm going to do with my life, partying years. Went very, very deep into that and lost my way a fair bit. And it wasn't until I mean, there's been a few different pieces in there, but it was my mid-20s. It was a pretty devastating moment that occurred. It was dusk one evening. I was living in Adelaide at the time, and a relationship of mine had come to an end a while before that. And a young boy took his own life across the road from where I was living. And there's nothing I don't feel that will ever have that leave my mind, because I was the first neighbor as well as another neighbor across when his mother found him. And
So it wasn't like
to
you just found out.
to
Oh.
witness everything that happens in the immediate aftermath of that occurring, and seeing the dad come home and the grandparents come home while I was looking after the younger brother and sister inside.
And the mom was with you?
The mum, yeah, I mean the mum found him.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Ugh.
she was outside where he was and holding him when we first made it through the house. Yeah, I can only imagine what she would have gone through. And I remember that, like, the dad came over the next morning to just say thank you, and
Mm.
he was just this shell of a man. You know, didn't matter who he was, what he'd achieved, or anything like that. There's nothing he could do to change the situation, and I can only imagine what each of them went through after that. And out of that, for me, I said, dude, there's no one should have to go through that. Not the boy that felt like it was the only way out, nor the family and everything they would have gone through afterwards. And the second thing was, there's people that need help. What are you doing about it?
Mm.
And at the time, you know, I'd written music. I'd you know, aimed to make some kind of a name for myself in that space. But something just wasn't quite clicking with that. It just wasn't the lifestyle that I necessarily wanted. And it wasn't until then I started searching around and stumbled across a coaching course. It was in Melbourne in Australia. It was one of the largest coaching schools at the time. And yeah, but I think it took maybe a month or two of talking with them and saying, okay, yeah, this seems like it could be it. What's crazy is that my 2 years of university was psychology.
Oh, really?
And so,
Okay.
it was
Interesting.
amazing how it just wasn't the right time. I think for me as well, there wasn't the hands-on learning that I like to learn through, how I like to learn. Whereas into the coaching and the first weekend of training, I think it was about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and I called up the work that I was doing at the time and resigned. Because I was like, oh yeah, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life now. There was just this knowing of, oh, this is a missing piece, where I'd always written music about the different things that I find interesting about overcoming adversity, and about purpose and change and resilience and courage and all these different things that make up a beautiful life. And it was like, oh, there's this piece now that I haven't had the education or the wisdom around, that I think could insert here. And yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience.
In your mid-20s at that point.
That was mid-20s, yeah.
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 Wow. And you thought it, I mean, even knowing what you know today, that was the moment? Like that kind of put you on
It was
that?
yeah, it was a massive, that was, I mean, there's been multiple major turning points for me. Like that one with the boy taking his life was a huge one.
Yeah.
Going back, there was actually one earlier on where I was 13, and there was this moment that I had with another boy in class, and I came back with my sheet music. I just had a lesson with my piano teacher, and the boy could have caught a glimpse of the title of the song, and he said, "Oh, is that song by?" And it was like a rock band at the time. And it wasn't. It was a pop song by an Australian band, and it was interesting because there wasn't any words spoken in that moment, but the way that I perceived it was that there was absolute disgust on his face, that what I was learning at the time wasn't cool, what it wasn't what I should be doing, and I couldn't shake the regret on my. We have about a 45-minute bus ride home to the farm, and I just couldn't shake that feeling of rejection, and in such a small town, you aim to fit in and have a sense of belonging, and I didn't feel that, and so I was torn. between, okay, what I want to do, but then what others think I should be doing. And I gave up. I stopped playing for 2 years, and they were two of the toughest years that I've been through, to a point of being suicidal, to a point of not wanting to be alive anymore. And in the process of trying to fit into what somebody else's definition of cool was, I completely lost myself. And it wasn't until 2 years later, I walked past the piano one day and maybe I'll give that another go. Sat down and soon after wrote my first song. So there are a couple of moments there. There's some others that I'm sure we'll touch on as we go through the journey here. But yeah, there are a couple of big ones from childhood.
Isn't that, it's so funny because, and I'm not meaning that in a bad way, just there's things that we all do. And when you look back, it really wasn't that big of a deal.
No, he probably wouldn't even know it happened.
That's right. If you asked him, he'd be like, what are you talking
Wouldn't
about?
even know.
Isn't that, and everybody does these
everyone does
little
it.
bitty things, and you wonder what that is.
It's the way that I see it from more than 15 years now of coaching folks on this kind of stuff. I don't care how successful someone is, whether they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of age. Almost every single time when I have that first breakthrough session with a client, we're getting back to childhood. And we're aiming to make sense of the world. We're aiming to make and understand ourselves. And in doing so, like, our brains love patterns, right? They crave predictability. When we form an assumption that we believe to be true about something, our brains are designed to protect that pattern, not question it. And so when we have these things that worked in that moment, right? In that case, when I was 13 years of age, it worked for a specific reason. It didn't work in many other reasons. In any other case, in fact, it almost resulted in me not being here. But they make sense in a certain moment. But then we expand those out in our lives to being, well, okay, if that was the case, if, for example, somebody couldn't trust someone because trust was broken in a certain area, then it becomes, well, I can't trust that person, to then, well, I can't trust my community, to I can't trust anybody. And you wonder, within business, why somebody struggles with trust. Almost always it's something that's happened, either the business deal has gone bad or something that's happened early on in their childhood, and all that's happening is just repeating over and over again until they make an actual change.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because I've learned that now. I when I wrote my first book, it was after the death of my mom, and I was trying to figure some stuff out, and that's where it became Born or Made, right? And I wrote all this stuff down, and I started realizing there was all these things as a kid that actually impact your life. And they're there, and they come up when you need them or don't need them. You don't need them. Maybe they just come up. And man, I never realized that. And here I was 60 years old, writing this stuff down. I'm like, wow, this had an actual impact on me.
There was someone, you mentioned about being 60. There was someone that I coached years ago who was 64. And I remember after the first session, this is early on in my career, we came into the second session. I said, what have you noticed? And he said, I can't believe it was that easy. And he'd been holding on to something really challenging, really traumatic for 60 years. And he didn't realize he could let go of it.
Yeah, mine was, I went through this one thing, and I held on to it for 52 years.
Wow.
52 years.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing, though, when that realization is there? It makes you think about the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best is now. And
that's right. I heard that recently.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Yeah,
it's like, if only I'd known this years ago. But then you wouldn't have learned this or gone through this growth or understood this or overcame this challenge or met this person or had this opportunity. There's just so many different pieces to go into it. And all we can do is say, okay, here's the reality of where it is right now. And I think it's important that we continue challenging our assumptions as to what we believe to be true, because especially as change continues to speed up, the rate of change continues to speed up. The rate of which something used to be true that may not be true anymore speeds up with it. And our ability to continue challenging those assumptions is what enables us to open up to new possibilities. And I think that's a recipe for success. It's a recipe for growth. It's a recipe for being bold enough to go after what it is you really dream of.
And it's never too late. Literally, when's the best time to plant a tree? Yeah, what it's 200 years now.
Yeah.
And literally, I've been on this journey now for 2.5 years. And it's like, I can't tell you how excited I am all the time
Yeah.
because I'm getting to do all this. And plus I've got 60 years of knowledge to back it up. And
Incredible wisdom.
yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm so much more energized now. I really feel like I may be more energized now than I was 26 years ago when I
That
started.
must feel really good.
It feels amazing.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like, I mean, I see you and you have this incredible infectious energy, and I'm like, I'm hoping I'm gonna, be like that, and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, and it's this guy that I interviewed earlier, same thing, he's like, yeah, he's 68 years old, and he's all of a sudden like, there's no telling how much I can do.
Just
before
getting
I
started,
die.
right?
Yeah,
My
I mean,
grandpa,
literally.
my grandpa just taught me this amazing lesson through his actions, not through his words, through his actions. He started woodworking when he was 80. 80, not 18, 80. Just decided, just going to make tables and chairs and stuff, and just got himself sorted. He had that. He had roses that he planted, I think probably 50 to 100 rose bushes out the back. Nailed that. And family members have still got things around their homes. Some of these like sofa type pieces made out of wood. Amazing. And just you're never too old to reinvent yourself. And
Literally.
and it's important that I heard years ago that just the importance of having something that keeps your mind, body, and spirit active, because otherwise you waste away. You waste away very, very quickly. I don't care what age you are. And that's really important to make sure that you're staying sharp physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of the above.
Mind, body, spirit. And it's literally, I've really been keying in on that. And you said that mind, because this is our trap, right? This is the one that just crushes us.
And what you have most control over, I feel, as well, in a lot of ways.
Do you? That's a great, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I don't feel like I do, but then I feel like if I hone my body, it helps my mind.
Yes.
And then obviously I dive into the spirit because my mind now lets the spirit get in there. And yeah, I guess, you do control your mind, but man, that sucker can throw you down.
It's tough sometimes, isn't it? I mean, and here's the thing, all three of those are working beautifully together. I mean, the purpose side of things and the spirit side of it, but I see it having a purpose that's bigger than your problems. Like the bigger the problems that you have, the bigger your purpose needs to be. Otherwise, you're going to succumb to the challenges that you're going through and think that you're not capable of overcoming them. And so a purpose bigger than the problems. The body side of it, your ability to be in great shape, eat great food, sleep, like just the basics from a recovery standpoint. I play a lot of pickleball here in Austin, and I'm in my 40s now, and it's important from a recovery standpoint. If I'm playing 20-year-olds, I want to smack them. I want to absolutely crush it.
Yeah.
And that mobility is so important for ensuring that you're not getting injured. One thing that I noticed, though, with pickleball especially, and I've heard that this is the case with racket sports, that is such a great thing for longevity. And it makes sense because, one, you're moving from side to side, you're moving forward and back, so you've got different range of motion. You've got community where you're actually playing with folks. My reaction time grew off the charts in a very quick amount of time. Speed as well. The reaction time's an interesting one because as you get older, your reaction time is incredibly important, because what happens if you fall? You fall. If you don't have core strength or you don't have the ability to hold yourself,
you're like
you're going over, and you're potentially going to end up with some pretty serious injuries. And so that body piece. But coming back to the mind and what we do have control over when it comes to that, there are certain things that flow through us that at different times we might not feel like we have control. One of the things I like to think about with that is allowing the emotions to flow through us rather than get stuck in us. The moment you try to have them, try to fix it straight away or need it to go a certain way, no, allow it to flow through. Allow it to flow through. And because,
how do you do that?
That's interesting.
So I've never thought of it that way. So these things get in our head.
Mm-hmm.
So take deep breaths, right? I'm big on breaths and let out slow. But that's what I'm trying. That's how I'm trying to let it flow through. Do you have any other?
A ton of them. Here's a story. So I had this experience because this is a thing. It is natural for us to not take things personally, and here's what I mean: I went out for a massage when I was back in Adelaide living at the time. And the Adelaide Hills, it's about a 20, 30-minute drive to this person's place. Amazing massage. Haven't found a massage therapist that is as good as this person yet. Amazing. It's about 10, 15 years ago. And on the way back, I would go to this small town called Stirling. And Stirling is this picturesque kind of place, like there's beautiful trees around. And it's idyllic, and off the beaten track, there is a lake. And not many people know about this lake. I go there, and sometimes there's kangaroos, sometimes there's like birds and ducks and that kind of stuff. On this occasion, there's all these birds, ducks and that kind of stuff in the water. And then these two birds start fighting each other. And so I do what any normal person would do. I grab out my camera and start filming it, right? Because I'm thinking, you know what? I've heard this story. I want to see if it's true. And so they're fighting away. All of a sudden, a third one comes in, and there's 2 against 1 that are fighting against each other. And then there's a fourth one. There's 2 against 2 fighting against each other. This video goes for about 2.5 minutes. I've still got it. And so they're out in the water. 2 are over here, 2 are over here. They're fighting each other. Eventually, there's a victory that occurs, and there's a high-pitched cry of like, ow, ow, kind of sound. And I kid you not, I'm waiting for the moment. And like clockwork, within the next 30 to 60 seconds, every single one of those birds, while they're in the water, does this. And then floats off.
Is that
and I'm like,
their
damn,
applause?
you're kidding me. What that is, it's a natural instinct that animals have. We are animals that animals have to let go of the excess energy that was required in that specific moment, but is not required any longer. If we as humans, I think one of our greatest assets is our ability to think. And one of our greatest liabilities is our ability to think. Is that if we get stuck in these ruts of believing the thoughts, if we get stuck in these moments thinking that we can't change the situation or change our thinking around a situation, that is absolute BS. We have control over that. And that is where allowing it again to flow through, just like the water birds, okay, in that moment, they needed to be angry. But if they were humans out in the water, they'd be floating off going, oh, you wait till I go get my, I'm going to tell my thing about that. You wait till, just like the stories that we make up that end up being wasted energy. If we're going to make up stuff, because it's made up at the end of the day, if we're going to make up stuff, we might as well be making up stuff that's supportive of our success. And we have the ability to control that narrative. Now, we might not be able to control how we feel in a certain moment, but we can have control over the overarching narrative as to who we are, where we're going. And, if you're tired, coming to some practical pieces, one of the things that I have in, my playbook is that no big decisions are made when I'm tired.
Okay.
Ideally, if it is,
right.
Maybe there's a case where a big decision has to be made. But ideally, if I am lacking sleep, like go and have a nap, man. Or get an early night and think about this tomorrow. Just get through the things that you need to get done right now to make sure that you're still productive in the day. Breath is definitely a big one. I recommend that you just have like 5 to 7 different things that work for you. For me, going and sitting at the piano and just closing my eyes and playing, great one. Music is another. Going for a walk. Getting yourself into a different physiological state, as you mentioned before, from a body standpoint. You change things from a body, it absolutely changes your psychology as well. And so, having those ahead of time though, because when you're in it, that's not the time to think about, okay, now what have I got to be able to handle this? No, you need this when you've already got the capacity. Because when you don't have the capacity and you're exceeding that which you think you can handle, that's a recipe for feeling that you're not good enough or feeling that you're not cut out for it. And I think the last thing I'd say is that, if anyone's experiencing things like imposter syndrome or stuff like that, which is very natural to experience, is just noticing, like, reframe it in your mind that I'm just simply growing faster than my comfort zone right now. Because imposter syndrome at the end of the day largely is exceeding the level we currently believe we're worthy of.
Oh, for sure. I never even understood what that was until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then once I'd heard it, I'm like, oh, okay, now I know it. Now there's a description of it.
Yeah.
Because I had it. We all have it on some level.
Yeah.
And and I've struggled with that my whole life.
Yeah. I mean, challenging those as well. Like I'm a big believer in this acronym of CAR, C-A-R. Okay. Challenge, activate, and reframe. You challenge your assumptions, you activate your courage, and then reframe any fear that's bound to come up along the way. And those assumptions, first and foremost, is that, yeah, we are assuming things on a day-to-day basis. Even things that years ago were scientific fact are no longer true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people thought we weren't able to travel faster than a certain speed, or that computers wouldn't be a thing, or the internet is just a fad. Like, these things were seen as, oh yeah, gospel almost. Now it's like, couldn't be further from the truth. And
Not
so if
even
that's
close.
the case, if certain things that people believe scientifically that weren't possible, then there's a good chance that some of your thoughts aren't real, aren't true.
So, because the guys that like we're doing all the time is we're pushing ourselves to the limit.
Mm.
So that's where you get into that imposter syndrome. You're trying to get to the next level, but you feel like you're here, but you're in the room here. And so what do you do to try to clear that gap, right? That getting in there, because if you're trying to be better,
Yeah.
you're gonna get that situation.
You
right?
are.
So-
And you should be getting, if you're not getting
Right,
that
you
situation
should, right?
and you're aiming to grow fast, then my challenge to those listening is that you're probably not dreaming big enough, right? Because if you're not experiencing some form of discomfort, then yeah, maybe you're not expanding as fast as what you possibly could be. And yeah, there's times where we're pushing, and if you're not careful, you end up burning out. I'm definitely guilty of that at different times. And so I've got to continue to monitor that and ensure that I'm getting the basics right first and foremost. And so this is where some of the things to bridge that gap, first is the fundamentals, like things like sleep, recovery, eating great food, drinking plenty of water. These such basics, there's a reason why they continue coming up over and over and over again, is because they help to increase our capacity to deal with a situation that is occurring. The purpose piece is another one of, again, having a purpose that's bigger than your problems, and continue coming back to that and have it somewhere where you can see it every single day. Like that mission that you have, your true north, it should be somewhere where you can see it every single day. Because if it's away somewhere or you thought about it, you haven't written it down, like there's going to come a time where you don't feel good enough. There's going to come a time when you feel not cut out for it. And if you can just come back to that and go, that's why I'm doing this. All right, game on, let's go. Yeah. So capacity builders is what we're looking to build there. And then when it comes to the actual action, is to say, okay, why am I feeling inadequate right now? What specifically is missing? Because, and then asking yourself, okay, is that warranted? Or am I just lying to myself here? Because sometimes we're just lying to ourselves because it protects us, it keeps us safe. Right?
Because that's what our mind wants to do, is protect us.
Yeah, we at the end of the day, our minds are there, our brains are there to protect us from being eaten by something, thousands of years ago. Those patterns are still there. It's just are we calling the shots rather than them calling it on us and calling the shots on us? And so in those moments, challenging those assumptions and asking yourself, okay, where is it? Is it true? And if it's not true, then that's where we can reframe. So we reframe that fear. We reframe what it is to be that. The other, though, if it's not true, if it is true, then we've got to ask ourselves, okay, what specific skill sets are missing right now? Because all this is doing is it's helping me to prepare for a situation that's going to come in the future that if I don't prepare for, I'm not going to be ready for. And if I can prepare for it in this moment, grow, evolve, become better. I'm ready. Yeah. Or at the very least, a little more prepared. There was this experience that I had years ago. I entered in this talent show back in the town that I was in. It was so many people were in the hall. I think probably at least 20 or 30% of the town was in the hall that day. And I remember I was across the other side of the road when my family and we got out of the car, and I had my sheet music with me. And I put my sheet music back in the car. I go, I got this. And went in, everyone else was up, and then it was my turn. And I start off flawlessly. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the zone. And then I just completely lost my place. And I royally screwed this up. Like screwed it up. Like, I'm really happy that there aren't like smartphones and stuff like that around today, because that'd definitely be on the camera on social media. So like, boy screws up his talent show.
15 million views.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, gone viral for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I carried that around with me for probably about 15, 20, yeah, about 20 odd years. And it wasn't until I actually gave my first talk with a grand piano on stage back in 2017 where I had the realization that the question that I was asking myself was, what if I screw this up again? What if I screw this up? And it was all come back from what we were talking about earlier from childhood. And that was unconsciously, didn't even know it, was calling the shots over and over and over again, having me feel like I wasn't prepared. And yet I couldn't possibly base my current reality on a previous version of myself, a cocky little kid who felt like he was prepared. When I look now and look at the thousands and thousands of hours that it's taken, that, yeah, preparation is key. And so there was an opportunity there for me to learn and grow. I didn't learn it at that time. It took a while for me to understand that. But yeah, these are the patterns that are playing out that unless we actually analyze that and really go deep, we're bound to repeat the same patterns over and over. And if I had that pattern still, I wonder, would I still be doing what I'm doing? And I possibly not. I possibly would have given up. Maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't, right? That's that mind thing, right?
There it is.
Yeah. There's the mind thing. So tell me, so you're doing a bunch of stuff on stage now. Piano, you said you had a bunch of other musicians with you. Is that what you were saying?
No, so just myself.
Okay.
I have a producer as well over in Europe. We've been working together he's been with me full time for like 7 years now. And yeah, one of the big moments that happened for me when it came to like the massive trajectory, because it was a massive shift. Back in 2014, a relationship of mine came to an end. It was a serious relationship of mine. The first one that I felt like I was able to really give everything to.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a previous serious relationship of mine where I gave everything that I had at the time, but I was very emotionally unavailable. There was just certain things that I didn't know how to access in my makeup that required me to go through some massive transformation of my own. But in this occasion, 2014, she said the words of, "You're so rigid," as in I was just so stuck in my ways, and I was.
I've been accused of that.
Oh my gosh, it was such a. I didn't take it to heart in the moment because it wasn't until that fully ended, and I just decided to do a full 180 flip in that, like a flip around of that. In the first 40 days, I went overseas for the first time. I went scuba diving, mountain climbing, diving, whitewater rafting, gliding. There's a couple other rappelling down waterfalls. There's a few others in there as well. There's all in the first 40 days, and I just discovered this. Oh my gosh, what is out there? And I realized life is about experiences, not things. And there was this moment that I had in Bali. This was the first trip that I'd been on. And this is a month after this relationship ended. So I don't know whether there's a universal intelligence or God exists or whether it's just our brains conspiring for our success. I don't know. But the amount of moments that have occurred where I look back and just go, how did that occur? So on this final day, I'm a couple hours before I had to head to the airport. And I was going to this cafe and I looked in my maps and it was a long walk. Going, I might just go to a closer one because I've only got a little bit of time left. Little voice just goes, go to the further one. Like, go to the one that's further away. And I go, all right, fine, I'll go to the further one. And I've learned to listen to that voice, right? So I walk in, there's a beautiful woman that's sitting there. And the voice goes, you should talk to her. The other one goes, don't be silly, you just split up and, just back and forth, back and forth. I sit down, have my food, didn't talk to her. Wasn't until I walked out, she's still sitting there. Dude, just go and talk to her. So we ended up having a chat for probably about an hour or so, hour and a half. Before I had to go, I showed her some of my music. She shared with me then one song, and I had the headphones in, and it's this beautiful piano piece. And there's these other instruments coming in. I was, oh, this is such a beautiful song. And this experience that I had in Bali was that life was about experiences, not things. It was a massive revelation that I had. And I looked down at this song and I kid you not, the song is called Experience. And I'm like, you are kidding me. And I'm listening to this song and just this, I'm thinking, I need to be doing more of this. I need to be creating more, and I need to be experiencing more. And didn't think anything more of it at the time. But 18 months, about 18 months later or so, I sold everything that I owned, went on this crazy journey around the world, staying in places that had grand pianos in them to write and create on as I went. Like that whole journey led to becoming a National Geographic Explorer, led to a TEDx talk in Rome with a grand piano on stage, led to a viral video in Colombia that led to that National Geographic piece. And in July 2017, I was lying on my bed in Argentina. I spent a week there, and this question popped in my head out of nowhere of, if this all ends today, what haven't I done yet that I wish I had? It's such a good question, Larry. It's such a good question. Because you can be at the end, you think about like the end of your life, what's it been about to be worthwhile? Great question to ask. It can also lead to some complacency. Because, I've got plenty of time. I've got 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But if you're dead today, you've got nothing more to give, what haven't you done that you wish you had? And for me, it was giving a talk with a grand piano on stage immediately. And I got booked for one 2 years earlier. The entire conference got cancelled 2 days before the event. And I was crushed. I was thinking, you know what? I'll just keep the two separate then. Speak over here, coach over here, music over here. And on that day in Argentina, I go, dude, if you really want this, like, come on, let's go make it happen. And I just reached out relentlessly to anyone who'd listen. Rejection after rejection after rejection. Someone finally gave me a shot. And in front of 700 people, 2 events on the same day, 700 people at each, opening up one of them, closing out the second one, grand piano on stage, and walking off that, just thinking, all right, if that's possible, I wonder what else is. So that's like just it's been a wild ride.
And that's really, you're doing that a lot now?
Yeah. Speaking's a huge part of it. It's why I'm here in the US. It's why I'll be here permanently. My wife is here as well, so that's another reason.
That helps, yeah.
But from a career standpoint, there's a huge part of it. The Edge of Possible is the keynote. We have grand piano, now guitar on stage as well.
Because I thought you said you had something. Okay, so there is a guitar now.
Okay. I only learned how to play the guitar a few years ago. So 2021, and put in 2,000 hours over the first 500 days. So 4 hours a day average to add that to the keynote that I delivered, because I had certain objections coming up from event organizers saying, we can't get a grand piano. I was like, now I can just say, all right, for the ultimate experience, fantastic. But you haven't got a grand piano? That's cool. Just give me something to plug into and I'll bring my guitar. And like 70, 80% of the keynotes now are guitar only, which is wild.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's 2021 was when I first started picking up the guitar and giving it a serious go. Yeah.
500? How many hours?
2,000 hours over the first 500 days. You know what's crazy? On the 2,000th hour, I was back in Australia visiting family on the farm, and no one was home at the time when I did my 2,000th hour. So this was only for me. And I thought, well, where do I want to do the 2,000th hour? This storm was just going off in the distance. I thought, you know what? I know exactly where I'm going to go. I grabbed the guitar. I climbed up on the roof. I sat on the chimney top of the house that I grew up in as a kid, and played the 2,000th hour while I watched the thunder and lightning, off in the distance. And it was just this beautiful moment. Yeah, it was just this beautiful moment of, one, being home, being back where I grew up, and two, just taking the guitar to the place that the piano can go the least. Like where is the place the piano cannot go? Because it was just this reinforcement of I can take the thing that I love the most to the places that I love the most now, and it's just opened up this beautiful amount of freedom as a result.
Well, the cool thing too is, that's where it all started for you too. You you didn't end it there, but that was a great bookmark.
Definitely. And again, just fully for myself, like I share it in some examples, like stories when I'm on a podcast like this or elsewhere. But that moment was really for me.
Wow, that is so cool. And so you're doing this like all over the United States?
Yeah,
really?
North America is the main
okay,
part. Yeah,
right.
there's been 4 continents that I've spoken on now, but yeah, North America is. It's an outstanding location for Just so many events happen here, and I love it. It's I love it here, and it's yeah, it's I look forward to many more years.
And how
here.
long have you been in Austin?
Since 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
you
got
moved
my
down here
first
COVID.
I got my first work visa for the US back in 2018, and was in a number of different places from LA to Boulder and Denver, Asheville, Nashville. Yeah, and Nashville was my last place before coming here. So all those places I still love going to. Nashville, I'm in a bunch of times each year for keynotes, and but yeah, it's Austin. I feel really at home here. It's you know, we'll see what the future holds, but yeah, I now have my permanent residency, and yeah, citizenship isn't too far away. So
you're going to become an American.
yeah,
Good for you.
yeah. It's it's a decision I've come to fairly recently, because yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, I mean, it's the first time that I've shared it on publicly on a podcast. So
Well, I'll be
yeah,
excited to text you the day you become a
Yeah.
United States citizen. That would be super cool.
It's very close in terms of time frame, and yeah, I've gone through the entire process of what it takes, and I'm very proud of that, of what it's taken to build an entirely new life in an entirely new country. I still remember the first time that I was building my network here in the US. I reached out to folks on LinkedIn before I even came over here, and the first time I dialed someone, it was using Skype, I think, back then. And I had to dial their phone number, and it was a +1. And I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, okay, +1, the country code. I just a complete rookie. I had no idea what I was doing. But I think there's just something to be said for just going after what it is that you dream of, and not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, you've got some drive though, man, and just going out there. And I love the fact that one of the things you talked about, how many times you were told no, and you just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all experience rejection in different ways. Some people might strike it lucky in some way, but I mean, yeah, there's just thousands of hours that it takes, and so many no's before there's yeses, and then there's yeses, but then those yeses are, you screw something up in that opportunity, and then there's another opportunity to learn and grow. I think that's maybe the big one. I've had those before where
Really?
yeah, absolutely. Where, yeah, I feel like I'm making the progress. There was a talk that I gave a while ago, like a fair few years ago now, and yet I bombed, completely screwed it up. And I thought I did better than what the feedback was. But when the feedback came, it was pretty ruthless. And I could have easily taken that. And there were definitely moments in there where I go, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this isn't gonna be what I want it to be. And I think it's those moments that's the real making of somebody. It's the real building of somebody's character. Because anyone can do it when it's easy or when it comes to you and it's pretty straightforward. But it's the no's and then continuing to drive forward. But it's when you get a yes, and then that yes doesn't go necessarily how you wanted it to, or it goes well for a certain period of time, but then it all of a sudden backfires. I think that's the real making of somebody, because it's when it's like, all right, are you really cut out for this? Because you've just taken some steps back when you thought you were further ahead than where you actually are. There's some humble pie that you've got to eat right in that moment. And whether you're willing to do it or not largely determines what the outcome is going forward.
That is great advice. I never really thought of it. I mean, we've all had it, but you're right. You think, I got it. Tunk. Somebody smacks you down like that. Like you get that bad review or people, you're like, ooh. That's when you got to decide, do I really want this or not?
Yeah. And life will throw you different curveball. This has been a wild experience that I've witnessed from, again, more than 15 years of coaching now. The amount of times where someone in those sessions has said, this is what I want. This is where I'm going. And there's just so much conviction around it. And within the space of a week, 2 weeks, there's something that gets thrown their way of like, it's the universe just going like, yeah, but do you really want it? Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Show me how much you really want it. And it's like it's testing us in some way. of like, are you really cut out for this? Because if you're not cut out for that, how can you possibly expect more to come into your life? From an abundance standpoint, it simply can't be true. If you're struggling to handle this, life's not going to throw you, oh yeah, here's this great opportunity then. Since you can't handle this, let's see if you can handle this. It's even more.
Not gonna happen.
No, you've got to show what you're made of. And that comes through every action, every interaction, every conversation, every time you choose to show up, even when you don't feel like it.
Wow. Well, our time just like blew by. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah,
Get in touch with you.
Very straightforward. CameronAtlas.com. Search Cameron Atlas, and that's on all the social handles. Edge of Possible podcast. You can search for that, and you'll find me there. And would love to, have folks reach out, connect, and always good to have a conversation.
Well, great. Well, we like to finish this with the same old question: is so listen to this amazing story so far. You still got a ways to go. Do you think you were born or you think you were made?
I think definitely the made is resonates much more. I mean, there's certain innate skill sets that we all and traits that we have, but I mean, the just the thousands and thousands of hours that it's taken, and that we can build discipline, we can build consistency, we can build persistence, we can build belief in ourselves, and I'm living proof of that. And I'm a work in progress and will be for the rest of my life. And that's what's beautiful about the made component, I think, because there's always another level.
I love that. This has been great, Cameron. Appreciate you being on the Born or Made podcast.
It's been great. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.